Um, Probably the biggest trade for the Detroit Pistons was the New York Knicks trade. Obviously,
Yeah.
we talked about at the top of the podcast, Alec Burks and Bojan Bogdanovic. So the full trade details for Pistons fans that don't know, they got Quinton Grimes, Malachi Flynn, Evan Fournier, Ryan Arcidiacono, and 2 second-round picks. I know for a fact Ryan Arcidiacono got waived. Quinton Grimes, still part of the team. Malachi Flynn, I'm not sure what they're going to do there. Maybe he's going to be a part of the team. Maybe he won't. But overall, what did you think of this trade? And do you think the Pistons got fair value for Alec Burks and Bojan Bogdanovic?
So I just seen Omari post a video of Malachi and Evan. They're at the shoot around right now.
Okay.
So I mean, at least for right now, Malachi's there. At least for right now. But I think that again, how much were you really going to get for Bogey and Burks at this stage of the game? I mean, if you were there were rumors they were getting a couple of firsts last year for them at the deadline. Again, we don't know because it didn't happen, but the reports are out there. And then again, on Friday, Troy Weaver did at least allude to the fact that there were better offers last year. So Evans a little bit up there. I think Evans like 31, if I'm not mistaken. Malachi, who knows what they do with him. But the Quinton Grimes one is a little sneaky. That's a sneaky acquisition. And now you have Quinton reunited with his homeboy, Marcus Sasser. So that's gonna be pretty interesting. I want to see what he's gonna be able to bring to the to this young unit as well. This is another guy that he can fit right in there with them and grow as well, help with that offense out. So I think that one, to be able to get that young prospect and asset for a Burks that was on a slump, and then a Bogey that you just don't know what you're gonna get out of him as he gets older. I mean, it was solid. If I had to give it like a letter grade, I would say I'm floating somewhere between B minus C plus. It's not bad, but it's not. I'm not going to go like, oh, they killed it. No, I'm not going to go that far. But I mean, Evan, Grimes a little bit of a slump this year, but I mean, he's still shooting well from beyond the arc. Want to see him, pick his overall field goal percentage up, but it was good. It was good.
Yeah, I gave this trade, and I was a little bit more harsh. I gave this trade like a C minus. I gave it like an A plus. I gave it A plus for the Knicks. Even though I saw some Knicks fans yesterday, man, they were losing their shit because Burks and Bojan just were chucking and not playing any defense. But I think for the Knicks, just makes so much sense to add more bench scoring for Tom Thibodeau.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it for the Knicks. For the Pistons, I didn't like it for the fact that you couldn't get your first back from them. I thought if you could have got your first back from them, that would have been really enticing, but obviously they still, own the Detroit Pistons pick. It is, heavily protected, top 18 protected this year, but hey, eventually that pick will convey into a first round pick. And who knows if the Pistons are going to be a team that is in playoff contention. And if that's the case, the Knicks are going to get your pick. I think for Bojan, like you mentioned at the top of the podcast, they had better offers last year. To me as a fan, that was kind of pissed me off when I heard that, because a lot of fans have had that opinion. Like, the year to sell Bojan off was last year when everyone was knocking on the door. The Dallas Mavericks were knocking on the door. The Lakers were knocking on the door. Philly. I mean, Philly, like, we almost got Marcus Morris basically back in Detroit, but we elected to, trade with the Knicks, which I much would have rather had Marcus Morris in Detroit. That's just me, though. I've always been a fan of his. I was kind of surprised we didn't get at least, some kind of like, the seconds are okay. And I looked at them. They're a few years down the road, but I just think you kind of settled and you're kind of like, you know what? I'm not going to get what I'm asking for. I'm just going to, trade these two vets off that really didn't impact winning, and it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, I mean, just go ahead and put Bogey and put Burks in a better situation. Maybe they'll be able to go ahead and help the Knicks do something. Right now, they were just. I think Burks helped Cade and Ivy grow, but at the same time, I think that as far as what he was able to contribute to this group, it was maxed out. Same thing with Bogey, and I think it was just one of those times to go ahead and part ways, get a little bit younger, see what you got, see what you can do with some fresh faces, some fresh energy in there, because that is the one thing that they needed. They needed new energy within that unit, because it just felt like on some times when they were get out to these hot starts, they did not have the energy off the bench to sustain it.
Yeah.
And they got rid of a lot of pieces that did not provide that energy. I mean, they got rid of Bagley, they got rid of Livers, they got rid of Gallinari. They requested waivers on him, even though he just got here. Bogey, again, when he's feeling good, he's feeling good. But again, he's getting up there. Burks, again, down year. So it was smart to go ahead and bring in that new energy. I do think that if they were able to go ahead and get Morris back, that would have been that veteran voice that would have been a guy that could step in and be a veteran voice and contribute immediately. But also, too, that's probably a guy that wants to win as well. And things could have got a little bit interesting. You know how the Morris fans are.
Yeah.
Things could have got a little bit interesting with this group. So
I mean, they've both played in Detroit. I was always a big fan of Marcus Morris. I know some fans you'd rather have Marcus Morris versus Quinton Grimes. That's not the conversation I'm having.
Yeah.
The conversation I'm having is the veteran presence. Quinton Grimes is a hell of a player. I just don't know how the hell Monty Williams is going to use him, because the way, if you watch Quinton Grimes, he loves playing the passing lanes. He's a very sneaky defender. He's a good defender too. And I've talked to some people that are Knicks fans. They're like, he's a good player. He's just very inconsistent. He doesn't have games where you look at the box score and he's averaging 20 points a game for over 10 games. He's still a young player. He's still inconsistent. But from the front office perspective, I can understand them getting excited for Quinton Grimes, because in their mind, they're probably thinking hey, that's a first-round talent. Let's go get him. Let's see what we can do with Quinton Grimes. I just question how he's going to be used, because this team has so much depth at guard. It's just where does he play? Where is he going to be in the rotation? Is Marcus Sasser's minutes now going to be lessened because now you have Quinton Grimes? I mean, he only played 14 minutes last night. Then you got Shake Milton, Malachi Flynn. Where is he going to play? Where is he going to be in the pecking order? And I just don't have those answers. Monty Williams, sometimes it's he presses random on some starting lineup some days. It's just I just don't know, man. As a fan, I like Grimes. I just don't know where they're going to slot him in at.
Somebody's going to be with a DNP every now and then, if not consistent DNPs, and I don't think that's gonna. I'm over here kind of confused, because I'm like, all right, you got Cade, you got Cade, and you got Ivy, cool. You got Sasser and you got Shake, and then you got Grimes, you got it's an
Malachi
overflow.
Flynn,
Malachi Flynn is just Malachi could be one of those odd men out. He could be getting he's definitely going to probably be the odd man out. Sasser's minutes are definitely probably going to get cut into, because you got to see what you have in Grimes. And Monty Williams has already shown a tendency to take a flyer on a guy that he may feel has some talent and bring him in the gym and see what they could get out of him. So Sasser's minutes could get cut. Not something you necessarily want, or who knows? Maybe Shake's minutes could get cut. Maybe you might end up they're just going to see him for the first couple of games and see what they got. Then boom, You might be throwing shake behind Sasser, but somebody's definitely not gonna be pleased with their minutes getting cut, and that's we'll probably see that over these next couple of games of this West Coast trip, and maybe even one game when they return home and play the Magic on the 24th.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because I before we got in the podcast, I was looking at the point guard depth. I'm like, how the hell did we get more point guards out of this deadline than we had when we started the season? I was like,
kind of funny,
man. It's like I get the trade deadline, like they completely overhauled the roster. Like this reminds me when LeBron James was in Cleveland and people were calling him legit GM. Because he would like trade half the damn roster. That's what it reminded me of. Reminded me of like the old Cavs teams where like he just had a completely new team like every year. It was insane.
There were so many moves on the trade deadline. I believe that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe like after the Daniel House one came the Bogdanovic one. And it's like as soon as I'm typing one, I'm like, what the dude, can y'all space these out a little bit? I mean, like y'all making my day a little bit longer. I was writing all day because they were coming back to back to back to back to back. Like Troy worked the phone lines that day, those 2 days.